Everybody take some cover because this family drama came through like a frickin' tornado. Wife and dad from kids' school. I recently found out my wife has been having an affair with a married dad who has kids at the same school. Now it's making sense. We have 3 young children and what I thought was a great life together. Our houses are within walking distance and we are in the same greater social circle. His wife uncovered evidence of the affair including tapes, some of which were filmed in our house. I'm burning the house down. Is there any hope of moving past this and keeping my family together? I don't want my kids to have a broken home, and I love my wife, but I'm disgusted and embarrassed. I fully acknowledge I've been a horrible husband in many ways, but I've never been unfaithful. We are starting counseling, but any other advice would help. I don't want any of our friends/community knowing, so that's another added layer. Well, we all know what my advice would be, but that is only because personally, I would not be able to forgive a cheater. However, other people in the comments disagree with that statement. So I think there's way too many. I mean, the tapes were filmed inside your house. How do you forgive that? How do you move past that? I would physically and mentally not be able to. Sue me. Next up, am I wrong for telling my wife that I'm ending our marriage because I found her brother at our house again and said it in front of him? Why don't we like the brother? I need to know. I, male 38, left my wife, Kelly, 38, female, today. 5 years together, 4 married. I've battled her lack of boundaries about her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they are very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I experienced every just no family situation. What does that mean? My food was eaten, showing up uninvited, meddling, you name it. 9 months ago, my mother-in-law and father-in-law began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with a side chick with whom he's lived for the past 15 years, and he decided he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so effing regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. Whenever someone pisses me off, that's how I feel. Like, you couldn't just avoid this. You couldn't just choose not to piss me off. I got so sick of finding them using our private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sister-in-law started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because a bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still waited for her to snap out of the groggy state so that she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife and even told them, they still showed up at random hours. Even if I didn't run into them, I know that she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner chair, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchard that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew at her in front of them. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needed her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandon her family. Today, I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance. Not on the side and not even on the driveway, just right in the middle where my only option would be to get on the lawn. I go inside and he's laying with his shoes on the couch. As a Canadian who, no shoes in the house, that blows my mind. I still don't get how people wear shoes in their house. Like, there's dog out there. There's so many things. He gave me this fresh smile like he's untouchable. I went to our bedroom and packed as much of my belongings as possible and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers but haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I just needed to discuss this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. That's a bold statement. They know they were hurting our relationship and they didn't care. She knew that I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I love her and I didn't have the balls to let them go sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left and I told her that my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that right now I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. Sorry for any typos. I have a migraine right now. I'm just just coming on here because I just want to ask if leaving the way I did was an a-hole move, and maybe I should have announced my intention of ending our marriage after her brother was gone. I mean, you're just saying some really intense things. So maybe we're acting on impulse and emotion because you're fed up, okay? And rightfully so. You know, some people might struggle with those things, but it just feels like you despise your wife with your soul and stuff because of her family members. Like, definitely overstepping their boundaries in your house. It's just not adding up to me with the amount of anger. However, I'm not in that situation. Maybe I would be just as pissed off. Don't test it. We don't need to see that. Next up, I'm a double affair baby who was rejected by both set of siblings. So I say I'm an only child. Am I the a-hole? I'm a 25 male, a double affair baby, meaning my mom and my dad were both married to other people, cheated on their spouses, and conceived me. They ended up marrying each other after their divorces were finalized, and they raised me together. Their kids from their first marriages do not accept me and do not claim me as a sibling. And that sucks for you, because that was your parents' decision and choice to have an affair, and you just have to pay the price. I always felt their hostility when I was a kid. They were all moved out by the time I was 9, and I saw them a handful of times after, the last being 7 years ago. And those handful of times, they were very clear about not wanting to talk and how I was not their brother or their family. I mean, one even told me the world would be a better place if I'd never been born or if I had died. And they say I'm dramatic. Because of all this, I claim that I'm an only child when people ask. I never say I have siblings, half or otherwise. That's just my preference and I find it easier. Plus, I only have siblings through genetics, not through a bond or anything else. I'm pretty sure they would all leave me for dead on the side of the road if the chance ever occurred. This became a topic because I'm engaged to the cousin of a former childhood friend. He and I were friends most of our lives until we hit junior year and he turned into a real D and our friendship ended. My fiance and I met years later and she knows my background and she said she would also consider me an only child. So she has zero issues. She also has issues with her cousin. I didn't even realize that they were related until a while later. But in the last couple of months, he's appeared at a couple of family parties and he brought up the fact that I claim I am the only child. He never had an issue with it before, but he said I was being childish and a liar by claiming that I am. Then I have a few relatives, not my parents, I'm no contact with them, who get upset when they realize I don't claim my siblings. We have discussed how, if they don't claim me or count me when talking about siblings they have, then I won't count them. The family members tell me that could change and I could avoid awkwardness by letting people know. So if I have a relationship with any of them in the future, I won't end up with egg on my face. Am I the a-hole? I don't think it makes you an a-hole. I think the things they've said to you make them an a-hole. I think you do what's best for you. You know? What's it to everybody else? Honestly. How does that affect your day? If we have no relationship, haven't seen each other in years, what's it to anybody else? I don't get how that affects their life. They're not in your life at all, and they never have been. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments. We're moving on. Let me take a sip of water. I really should. And you should too. Cheers. I lost a nail. That's what happens when I make really cute nails for myself. Next up, am I wrong for giving my brother's kids away? Like you wrap them up and put a bow on their head and hand them off? What do you mean? To my infertile sister-in-law who has been harassing me for a baby after he dropped them off at my house without asking. So I, 28 female, am married to my husband, 29 male. His sister, my sister-in-law, 36 female, is infertile. And a little while ago, she demanded I give her my firstborn child because she deserves to know the joy of motherhood. I told her that my husband and I are not planning on having kids. Don't get me wrong, I love children, but if I see one or hear one or think about one, I fly into a blind rage and cause massive amounts of property damage. So it's safe to say that they're not for me. Safe to say. Now at every family event, she loudly complains about how her meaningless life is all my fault and nobody ever stands up for me because she's the golden child. Meanwhile, my brother has like 7 or 8 or 900 unruly, unwashed, screaming children. He asked me if I could babysit over the weekend and I said no because I am busy clipping my toenails and also I just don't feel like it. Oh, you really don't want kids. I reminded him that I fly into rage rages around children, but he said family helps family. I put my foot down, but early the next morning, he dumped his kids on my lawn and sped away, tires squealing as he fled the scene. I immediately saw red, but instead of attacking my surroundings with a hammer, I'm concerned. I gotta be honest. I don't want kids either, but like, that's a whole other level. I mustered up my willpower and called my sister-in-law. I told her, good news, I have some babies for you to adopt immediately. Sister-in-law was overjoyed and came and took my brother's kids away to live under her bridge. When my brother came back later, he asked where his kids were and I told him what I had done. My brother started yelling that I was insane, but I told him, not my circus, not my stupid prizes. My sister-in-law refuses to return said stupid prizes to their parents. What is happening? Saying that they're hers now because they were abandoned. So tell me, Reddit, am I wrong? We have a few edits though. Edit number 1. Okay, lots of people are saying I should have auctioned off the kids to all the infertile women in my country. I'll admit I dropped the ball on this one, but next time a relative abandons their children on my property, it happens regularly, as Reddit can attest to, I will do that. Edit 2. Commenters are pointing out that it's weird how nobody is blowing up my phone. So I got in the family group chat and was like, hey guys, what gives? Why aren't you blowing up my phone after I gave away my brother's kids? And my cousin was like, well, we don't approve of what you did. We all have our own lives and don't have time to devote to spamming you with messages that you're not going to read anyways. A whole bunch of people's hearts reacted to that, which honestly felt like gaslighting in my opinion. Then my other cousin was like, you can't really expect us to go out and get extra phone numbers just for the sake of harassing you. Yes, that's what family does. Would I be the a-hole if I told them to stop being narcissists? Your behavior really concerns me. Edit 3. Okay, I did it and my mom said, you've got to stop calling people narcissists just because they're not doing exactly what you want. I don't know how she types so quickly when she doesn't even have fingers. To be honest, I'm over this post. That's all I have to say about it. I'm over it. Bizarre behavior from everybody involved. From the sister-in-law who wants children, from the brother who just drops off his kids, from you raging about children. I'm over it. So I'm moving on. Next up, am I wrong for telling my sister to back off my boyfriend? I don't think you should be in a position to be saying that. What is going on? I, 27 male, have been dating my boyfriend Jake, 29 male, for about a year now. He is kind, funny, and honestly the best relationship I've ever had. My family has always been very supportive of me being gay, and my sister Emma, 24 female, has been my biggest cheerleader. At least I thought she was. Ooh. Lately, Emma has been acting weird around Jake. At first, I brushed it off as her just being friendly, but then she started making comments like, if only you were straight, Jake, I would totally steal you. Oh. Or, all the good guys are either taken or gay. I laughed it off at first, but then she started getting really flirty, touching his arm while talking, physically shoving him, even outright calling him handsome and saying things like, are you sure my brother is the right one for you? Jake, to his credit, shuts her down every time. He's always polite but firm, telling her he's happy with me and that he's very much into men, but Emma just giggles and says, well, sexuality is a spectrum, right? Last weekend, we were at a family barbecue, and Emma was glued to Jake. She kept finding excuses to pull him away to talk and even feeding him bites of her food. Weird. That was my breaking point. I pulled her aside and told her she needed to seriously back off. I told her it was inappropriate, disrespectful, and just plain weird. She got defensive and said she was just joking around and that I was being insecure. Then she dropped the bombshell. I don't know, maybe if Jake had met me first, things would have been different. Okie dokie. Emma may in fact have feelings for Jake. I saw red. I told her she was embarrassing herself and making Jake uncomfortable. She stormed off, and later my mom called me saying I overreacted and should apologize because Emma was just being playful. Jake is 100% on my side, but now the whole family is saying I should have just let it go. I don't know. I think you gotta set boundaries. If someone is making you uncomfortable or crossing a line or anything, you should be able to have a conversation with them about it, honestly, and just say, maybe you're joking around, but I don't like those comments. They bother me. And if that makes me insecure, that's fine, but I'm letting you know they bother me. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to have that conversation and set those boundaries. Next up, I caught my mom cheating. I don't know what I would do. My 20 female parents have been happily married for 20 plus years. Recently, while scrolling through our shared family Google Cloud, I found videos of my mom cheating. Videos. Ooh. What kind of videos? From 8 years ago while she was away on a business trip. Every photo that's taken on any device in my family automatically gets backed up to the cloud. That's a dangerous game. The videos were clearly taken in a hotel room with some old guy that is definitely not my dad. I can't get the videos out of my head. Oh my God. Ew. And the smallest thing instantly takes my mind back to the videos. I feel so disappointed and disgusted and don't know what to do. On one hand, if I confront my mom and she ends up asking me not to tell my dad, I'll feel super guilty about it. But then, on the other hand, if I end up telling my dad anyways and he doesn't know, I risk the potential of them fighting about it and worst case scenario, divorcing. There was never a period of time, especially when the videos were taken, where I remember my parents fighting or being distant, which makes me believe that it was never brought up. Their relationship isn't open, and my dad is definitely not the type to cheat, but my mom is very extroverted. I'm currently away at college, but have 2 younger siblings who still live at home. I don't want this to affect them if it does end poorly. I don't know how to go about this because I can't keep it to myself anymore. Does anyone have any advice for how to bring it up to my mom and also just how to handle the situation? Well, truthfully, mom needs to handle the situation for sure. And maybe they've already had a conversation. Maybe your dad does know. I don't know. What are you guys genuinely, what are you doing in the situation? Are you telling dad? Are you talking to mom? Are you just maybe chatting with mom and then saying, that's on you, but you need to tell dad? That's so messy. That is so messy. And really, you shouldn't have to be the one to tell anybody. Mom should. Next up, my stepfather is attempting to intimidate me into signing my inheritance away. My mother passed, in 22, leaving no will. Oh, my heart. We are the lowest middle class, and all she left us was supposed life insurance that nobody has ever seen a cent of, as well as a house that she purchased for our family. My stepfather has recently given my sister and I forms which agree to want no part of the house. He then states that if we don't sign the paper, we'll be leaving him as well as our younger brother homeless. We recently found out that there's no reason for him to be evicted, so we try to ask him to no avail. He instead ignores the question and curses us, saying we owe it to him and that this is his house, not ours. He tells us to call the attorney if we want to find out more about why it's being taken, but all they tell us is that the form is to sign our shares away to him. I try to communicate this with my stepfather respectfully, but he retorts by saying that he's going to beat the crap out of me just like he should have. Yeah, I'm not trying to give this man a house. As well as a plethora of other statements which scare me. I tell him that he's giving me evidence to get a restraining order if it comes to that, which I don't want, but he's only being angry and threatening both my sister and I. Is there a way to find out if the house is truly being taken or how I can best protect myself against him? All I want is for my family to be taken care of. We believe he has plans to take our younger brothers, far, far away to Texas with the money he's planning on getting from selling the house, which is why he's so upset. Yeah, it's like you're ruining his little master plan, which is psychotic. There's an update. I am 21, my sister's 19, and while I was kicked out the moment I turned 18, when my mother was still alive, my sister was kicked out after she passed due to breast cancer. This is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Update 2. I've emailed law enforcement to document these threats as well as emailed a couple attorneys in the area to try and get their help with it, but they all respond back with the same, sorry, but this isn't our area of expertise, try so-and-so instead, and good luck with this. It's unfortunately so difficult just to get help with this because I honestly have no idea where to start and don't really have the money to hire an expensive lawyer for this. Update 3. I'm a dude. How is no one giving you any kind of useful information? Surely there's got to be something helpful that someone can give. All I know is I wouldn't want to give up that. That's all that you were left in her will. That's for you. Absolutely not. Not to mention he doesn't even treat you right. Like, forget your plan. That's messy though. There's younger kids involved. Oh, I don't know. I don't have any help to give. I'm useless. Next up, my mom has been cheating with her boss for 5 years. In 2020, I was 14 years old then. I found my mom's phone unlocked and saw a few flirtatious messages between her and her boss at the time. It did not take me long to realize that she was having an affair. Fortunately, as it was during the pandemic, she and her boss did not meet physically at the office every day. After a few stressful weeks of contemplation, I decided to tell my dad about it, and he was rightfully devastated. My parents had been married, happily till then, for almost 20 years, and nobody had certainly ever cheated before. As I also knew about the affair, me, my dad, and mom had a long talk about it, and she promised to break the affair. However, a few months later, I caught her texting the same person again. I didn't even go through her phone. I just looked at her phone while she was on the couch and I saw the text. She was pretty casual about it. Then I told my dad and had another long talk. Again, she promised to break it off. Finally. Unfortunately, this kept on becoming a reoccurring thing, almost to the point that it got normalized to see her texting that guy, even after she promised to stop the affair. Well, why is your dad just so forgiving of this? Later, I got to know that the affair was physical as well. My dad kept trying to avoid a divorce, probably due to me, my brother, and social pressure, I guess. He talked with her boss one-on-one a few times. FYI, the boss is married and has a teenage son. I think his family knows about the affair as well. Still, the family is together. I seriously cannot fathom how. Anyways, mid-2024 was the first time we ever talked about the affair, and it actually stopped there. Her boss even got transferred to a different place, so they did not meet at the office. However, all of that changed when last week I caught her texting the same guy again. Who's surprised? Not me. When confronted, she said that the affair was still over and she was not cheating anymore. But when I read what she texted, along with other stuff, she said, "Do you like to flirt with other husbands' wives?" Actually, the boss got transferred back to her office and she claimed she texted him to maintain a professional boundary. I asked my dad straight up why he does not just divorce her. He said because he would be worse off without her than if she stayed. Do you value yourself at all though? I feel my dad has been a little bit too light on all of this. If he'd been more stern, my mom would not have continued this crap for 5 years. This has taken a huge toll on my mental health, and a huge chunk of my time is spent thinking about it. It's hard for me to focus on anything else, and sometimes I get really angry and helpless when I think about it. I know it's my parents' business, but it affects me a lot as well. I cannot remain calm and mind my business while knowing my mom had a physical relationship with her boss, and she thinks she did not do anything wrong that day while texting him just because the affair was over. I know that the affair is over, but the fact that the boss is again coming back around to her office makes me really, really uncomfortable. Also not setting a great example for you. Next up, am I the a-hole for flashing my mother-in-law? After she told me not to breastfeed my baby in my own house, I recently had a baby and had been breastfeeding her regularly. My mother-in-law came over on short notice while I was doing chores around the house. She picked up some things from our garden and chatted with me and my husband. She sat down and started watching the news on TV. I ended up watching TV a bit later too, as I was tired. My baby started getting fussy. I pulled down my top to start nursing her. My mother-in-law swung her head to me and gave me a look. She huffed and said, "Really? Around me? I'll just get naked too and have it all hanging out, huh?" and rolled her eyes at me. This isn't the first time she's done something like this, and the last time she made a comment while she was here for a day, I just took my baby into another room. Then my husband bought me a cover, but my baby doesn't like it when I use it. This time I just had enough. I didn't have it all hanging out, and I was doing it pretty discreetly, not facing her. I was tired and wasn't really thinking. I just pulled off my top and stood up right in front of her and told her, "I'll feed my baby when I want in my house." She just stared at me and I added, "If you don't like it, you can leave." I sat back down and she said, "I can't believe this girl," and got up and left. My husband was there and afterwards said I didn't have to go that far. He said mother-in-law texted him angrily, but I was just tired at the moment and all I was thinking about was just feeding my baby. Am I the a-hole here? I think it's funny. Personally, I think it's funny. It's annoying, to be honest, that she has an issue with you breastfeeding in your own home. And she's a woman. So you think it would be understanding, like woman to woman, I gotta feed my baby. I'm in the comfort of my home. I'm tired. I just pulled it down to put my baby on. Like, it ain't that serious. Moms out there, I'm not one. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.